I want to say something about immigration. The liberal point of view on immigration tends to be much more celebratory, much more tolerant, um, much more compassionate than the attitude on the political right. And I think you can say that this has been true in many countries that have had to deal with substantial waves of immigration. Now, I come from the liberal side of political America. Um, my grandparents were immigrants, and I haven't forgotten that. I like what the poet Emma Lazarus said at the foundation of the Statue of Liberty. I lit my lamp beside the golden door. I kind of I have had concerns about immigration in terms of overpopulation issues. I'm not sure what to think about that these years, but in general, I feel compassionate toward people who are walking long distances to cross the border into the United States illegally or to seek asylum. Um, but there's one thing which, for me now, overrides my feelings about the value of opening up asylum to people who are in terrible straits. I remember boats being turned back of Jews in 1930, whatever, to have to go back to Germany where they would be um, killed in the death camps. That hurts to hear about. But there's something else that's become visible in our world, in country after country, and that is that there's a fact, and I'm not sure there's anything to be done about it, that if there's a lot of immigration, particularly of people who speak different languages or sort of harder to integrate culturally. I don't know what all the factors are, but it feeds the force of fascism in a lot of democracies these years. And we just saw that this past weekend with the EU's elections and the considerable gains of, like in France, of Marie Le Pen's National Unity Party, or whatever it's called. And we've seen it in even a country like Sweden that's had social democratic, very liberal governments for generations, now has a pretty right-wing government. And the Italians have had to deal with it, and they've got sort of a semi-fascist. All of them have in common that they tap into the anti-immigration feelings in the public. And Germany, little f, D, for Deutschland, the right wing party, the anti democratic immigration passion strengthens the right wing in all these countries. And I think that we probably should come to a conclusion, at least in this era when the societies that are dealing with immigration are maybe particularly vulnerable on this. Maybe it would have been okay in the 1950s or 60s to open the door. Maybe not. But at least right now, the bigger issue is what's bigger than the fate of people, even a lot of people who are fleeing terrible circumstances, may matter less else than the preservation of the larger picture of liberal democratic values versus fascistic values. That the dangers of feeding popular support into so that fascistic parties prevail in elections is a more important danger to attend to than the danger that particular individuals might suffer, unfortunately, because the door isn't open more widely to rescue them. I don't know what the right policy would look like. But I think that those of us who are compassionate about these asylum seekers need to get a little bit tougher than we have recognized before about immigration policy. And you can see that the Biden administration has really sort of been scrambling for the last year to try to make itself less vulnerable to having people who are upset about immigration vote for Trump and the Trump party on the basis of our borders out of control. There's a lot of lies in that accusation, but there has been a problem. And as good liberals, the Democratic Party has been very slow to take into consideration. But the fact is, too many people have trouble with it. I mean, you could wish that they didn't. You could wish that everybody was compassionate and didn't find difference so bad and were more willing to extend themselves to integrate other people, and more willing to tolerate differences. You can wish that people were different. But if it goes from Sweden to Hungary, where Orban rode immigration to a fascist power, and Brexit, and France and Germany and Italy, if all those countries have been struggling with this issue in a way that hurt the forces of liberal democracy and fortified the forces of fascism, I think it makes sense to do what the Biden administration has done. Maybe too late. They can keep on pointing how Trump refused to let the Republicans resolve the problem by accepting what Biden proposed, which was basically a Republican set of positions, things that were like a wish list for Republicans over the years about how to clamp down on immigration. But Trump wanted the political issue, and I guess the way it'll be fought out is how successful will the Biden campaign be in making sure that people who are upset about immigration will be upset that Trump was playing politics with it rather than that Biden was practicing maybe too long the liberal way of looking at immigration. Well, I think that